Hey guys, so I think I'm going to have a different opinion to a lot of people on this, or at least from what I've seen on my social media. I feel like a lot of people are outraged by this show. But there's a show here in the UK called Naked Education. Now, I haven't actually seen it. I don't know where I can see it. I've not had a TV for over 20 years. So I haven't actually been able to go and really assess it for myself, what I think about it. If you've actually seen it somewhere, let me know. Let me know what is actually in it. But I get the idea that it's essentially young people, like teenagers and children, whatever, and naked people are brought on and they talk about their body hang-ups and insecurities and basically answer questions that young children and teenagers might have about the naked body. So it's kind of like normalizing nudity, I guess, in a sense. Now, the reasons that I actually am not so against this as a lot of people is I think especially for girls, I don't think guys have quite the same problems as women do growing up. I think women tend to face more issues in puberty because we've just got so many extra factors, you know. And I think some people, they have really open dialogue with their family and their parents, and they don't really need anything external to that because they get so much support. But there's so many people that don't have that because their families are just embarrassed. It's just not the kind of family it is that talks about this stuff. Maybe there's religion involved. There's all kinds of reasons why like some parents and some families just don't have open communication on things like this. You know, you can start your period and it's just like, oh, here's some pads, go off and sort yourself out. And, you know, that's not really that helpful. And a lot of families don't bring stuff up, they don't deal with stuff, it's just like pushed under the rug, like none of this stuff exists. And then you can't really get advice from your fellow teenagers because they have their own motives, and also they're also immature. You know, if you've got an insecurity about your body, like, I don't know, your boobs or down there or whatever, you're actually going to, if you talk to other teens about it, you actually face the risk of them just laughing at you and bullying you and making you a mockery at school. You know, it's not like you can really go. There's a lot of people that don't have anywhere to go for advice on, like, is this normal? You know, is this what people look like? Is this, what do I do? You know, what do I do now I'm on my period? They just don't have a place to go. So I actually think if a show can cover this ground for people without being in any way sexual, I'm actually kind of not against it. And I know I'm going to get loads of people that say they are really against it. But I'm not really. And even with sex, it's always, I don't know if I'm allowed to say all these things on YouTube. I really don't know anything about about what you're allowed to say and not. But I feel like for women, it's a different experience too. Like, men don't really care. They're just like young boys that just are like, yeah, I'm up for it kind of thing, if I can find a woman that is. And I just think women, it takes a while for women to really mature and learn boundaries and know what exactly is involved. And I don't know, I just honestly think that sometimes a mature adult stranger on a show where they're definitely not going to be anything, you know, more nefarious going on than if a person reaches out to, because the last thing you want is a child reaching out to somebody on social media or a random adult. I mean, this would be terrible, right? And I think at least on a show, they can get these questions answered without the fear that they're talking to somebody really nefarious, because I'm sure the people on this show are highly vetted. I mean, I'm sure they are. So yeah, I'm not really against this one, and I don't really see it as an agenda. It could be. I think there's always an agenda that can seep into anything, but the actual concept of the show, I actually quite like it. I actually think it's needed. I think that young people really do need a very non-biased adult opinion on many things, because you have maturity when you get older and you see things totally different. You understand boundaries. You understand that like everybody's body looks different and it doesn't matter. You find confidence in yourself and you obviously know what to do with your periods and things like that. And for those young people that don't have the ability, like parents that are open, I think it's really necessary just for them to see other bodies and to understand other bodies and to understand puberty and to understand what goes on and to because I think if they do go on the internet and search, the only really naked bodies that people see is very sexualized and all looking a certain way. And I think that can build even more insecurities for people, where they used to sort of like, if they have gone off and managed to kind of break all the child codes and a teenager is managing to look up this stuff, then they're just going to see really unrealistic things and highly sexualized things. Whereas maybe if they are allowed to see very non-sexual, regular bodies, they're not going to need to go look at those avenues. I don't know, this is just my opinion on it. Like, I'm not as against it as a lot of people seem to be. There's a massive outcry about it in the UK. But yeah, I just maybe just from my experience, that when I was growing up, I was an only child. My family were not really, open about things. It was just a bit embarrassed, pushed under the rug kind of thing. And I felt a bit lost, honestly, at times. And I think maybe if I'd have been able to see that show, it might have answered some of my questions. I don't know, it might have made me feel more normal. I don't know. I just feel that people just jump on anything these days and think everything is an agenda and slate everything. But I do actually see some positives behind a show like this. And yeah, for young girls especially, they don't really get proper advice from other teenagers. You can't really go to like another boy in your school or a girl and get proper advice on things that are going to affect you potentially for the rest of your life. And especially on things, like I said, like boundaries and being able to say no, and just understanding what is involved in things. Trying to like not say any words that are going to get me shadow banned or anything. I just think it's important. I think it's an important discussion. I think it's important to be open about it, and I think it's important, for people to have these conversations in a very non-sexualized way, which I do worry is where people are going to get information from if they don't learn in this way. Or they're going to get it from other teenagers who are highly immature and just likely to like pick and bully on people or tell them it's rubbish, or yeah, everyone does it, It's just not, other teenagers is not the place to get sensible advice about your body from, in my opinion. It's actually better to get it from like a show with strangers. Adult strangers that are mature, they've gone through things, they've learned to love their body, they know that everyone looks totally different. It's like, there's no normal standard. So I'm actually open to it. I'd obviously have to see it first, which I don't know, like, I don't know where you can see it because I haven't seen it pop up on YouTube, because I did want to kind of see it before making this video. But yeah, I'm kind of open to the concept, honestly. What do you all think? Do you agree, or do you think that no, it's a definite no, there shouldn't be a TV show with adults standing naked when younger people are around? I kind of get both sides, right? I actually think I would have found it really useful myself when I was growing up to normalize sexualized nudity, and to like hear people talking about body insecurities and how they really nothing when they get older, and and just how to have boundaries, and I don't know, just things like this. I just think that everyone assumes people get it from their family, but not everybody does, and a lot of young people, I think, are just walking lost and just getting advice from like other teenagers, which is like the worst advice that you could probably get. But yeah, what do you think?